Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
You know, growing up and experiencing grief are just simply two facts of life. And if you're within the sound of my voice, that must mean you are in the seats with once more. As always, my name is Dave Voigt, and I'm the host of this podcast where we sit down with a wide-ranging variety of entertainment industry professionals, and we pick their brain about current projects, state of the industry, how they got started, and so very much more, in a light and in a conversational fashion. And you know, if you like how we do things around here, I'm going to assume that you do, because quite frankly, you're listening right now. If you are, hit that subscribe button. Give us the like, give us the old 5-star rating on your podcast provider of choice. We're available pretty much everywhere, places like Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Google, and plus we archive every single one of our episodes over at our In the Seats YouTube channel, so if you can give us a like and subscribe there as well, we would absolutely appreciate it. Also, don't hesitate to check us out on social media. We're on the Facebook, we're on the Twitter, we're on the Instagram, we're on the TikTok, and we're on the Letterboxd for all sorts of fun updates. And finally, and I do dare say most importantly, please pay us a visit over at intheseats.ca for all the latest and greatest from the world of film, television, basically the moving image at large. Because, you know, if we love to watch it and write about it and talk about it, we love it even more when you come by and read about it and listen about it. So please, pay us a visit. Well, on this episode, boys and girls, we've got a special one because it is a fantastic piece of cinema, a great coming-of-age story, and even better, it is Canadian. At the Lightbox tonight, and also through the week, but also with some special guests, it is The Maiden from writer-director Graham Foy, and it is really a beautiful piece of... It's almost dreamlike, really. It's very atmospheric. He's from Graham Foy. He's from Alberta, and it is his feature debut that really looks at sort of the adolescent nature of camaraderie, how they can alienate one another, and also how they experience things like grief and wonder. It really runs the gamut of emotion, and I mean, it's just a fascinating story. I don't want to spoil it too much, but I mean, it's the story of Colton and Kyle, and the best friends. They roam around this small town, killing time, doing the dumb teenager stuff that you would expect. But things shift when there's an accident and one of them disappears. But it also ends to another relationship as well as Colton seeks out a classmate, Whitney, who has her own kind of emotional crisis and is looking for a certain sense of peace. And it's really a brilliant little look at how young people process change and grief and drama and just sort of the things that happen in life. And I could not be prouder that this is a Canadian film. Like I said, writer-director Graham Foy is definitely one of our up-and-coming talents, and you know what? We just had the pleasure of speaking with him in advance of the screenings, which start tonight. There's Q&As tonight on the 10th, 11th, and 12th over at the TIFF Bell Lightbox, so if you want to check this out, I do recommend you get down there and grab a ticket to enjoy the film. It's a beautiful one, but if you want to, and I hope you do, first enjoy our talk with Graham Foy, because quite frankly, it's a darn good one. Thank you so much for the time today, and congratulations on the film, man. I thought it was great.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Now, I mean, I guess my first question is walk me through what made you want to tell this story, and I mean, I guess what made you want this to be your first feature as well.
I think that the space that the film is shot was really maybe the jumping off point for the story, and what maybe kept the intrigue going for the long process that is making a feature film. But it's shot in Ravine in Calgary, which is very close to where I grew up, and I spent a lot of time there when I was younger. And it's a ravine that kind of separates a lot of suburban sprawl in the city, and that's sort of where I grew up. So I was really excited by the mystery and the sort of magic that I found in that space when I was younger. And it still felt that way when I returned to it as an adult. So I was really excited to sort of dive into that space and unearth a story that is somewhat autobiographical, but also inspired by that sort of weird fog that happens when you look backwards in time.
Right. No, I mean, I'm curious because I mean, it's a gorgeous film, and I mean, especially when we're getting into sort of the depths with these characters and what's going on in their lives, you're definitely not afraid to sort of hold on a shot. Like, what is it about? I guess maybe the frame, like from my perspective in watching that you really seem to like to paint. Because I mean, and I appreciated that as a viewer as well, because let me get more into sort of, I guess, the emotion that you're trying to evoke out of this. Because I mean, even when it's not even one of the characters, I definitely found even the ravine kind of a character in and of itself.
I think I'm really interested in, or I was interested in experimenting with this film a little bit, and in storytelling. I think in film, especially, often the impulse is to always focus on what happens next in
Right.
story. And I think with this film and with the type of characters with teenagers, I was really interested in experimenting with a story that was more focused on what's happening now in the present moment, and really trying to immerse the audience in that psychological space in each of these characters' journeys, I guess, experiencing different versions of loss.
For sure. No, I mean, in getting this, obviously, for at least most of the film, I believe you worked mostly with non-actors. Was that important for you to try to get more of an honest experience rather than having an actor sort of bring their inflections to an idea like this?
Yeah, I think I was just really drawn to the three lead kids that are in the film. I think that they're all very different, but they're also quite similar in some ways in terms of maybe what I was attracted to from a performance perspective. And I think all three of them brought some of themselves to each character, and were able to sort of channel a naturalism that felt very alive to me, that I got really excited by. And I think in making a film about teenagers, I wanted to remain as true as I could to that experience. I didn't want to make something that uh, looked like Beverly Hills 90210, or something that uh, casts like very adult looking
Right, right.
people as teenagers. I wanted to really honor that age and that time period, and represent kids of that age as realistically as I could. And a huge part of that was trying to give those kids that ended up playing the characters as much agency as possible to play the characters that they felt excited about, while working within the confines of the story that I had written.
Was casting a challenge? Because I mean, I can imagine, especially on a film like this, I mean, just in watching it, definitely didn't feel like a movie where you wanted the kids to sort of act or sort of really sort of stay bullet for bullet on the script. You almost wanted them to react more than you did to act.
Yeah, I mean, we cast for quite a long time. My partner, Diva, and I think spent at least 3 years casting. I think part of that was because of the pandemic, and so our process got extended while we were in pre-production. So we shot the film later than we originally thought we were going to. But certainly we spent a long time trying to find the right personalities, and also I think the right chemistry between the characters, especially between the Kyle and Colton character, and then the Kyle and Whitney character. There was like something that was very specific, I guess, about the combinations that needed to also work in the film beyond the individuals themselves. So having the ability to riff off one another was really important as well.
No, I'm curious. Did you shoot this on film? Because I mean, there is a softness to it that kind of belays what we, would see with people working with digital. Like, I mean, from a budgetary standpoint, you probably didn't. But I mean, I'm just curious how you managed to get kind of the aesthetic of the film.
Yeah, we shot on 16
Oh,
millimeter
you did?
film.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm glad you pointed that out. And it was a huge challenge. And that was, I guess, in terms of like the technical qualities of the film, uh, something that both limited us in a lot of ways and how we could light certain things, but also I think created some really interesting solutions, because we were working with a very small budget. And so to light nighttime exteriors would have been an extreme challenge, but we were really inspired. The cinematographer Kelly Jeffrey and I, who've worked together for a long time, we're trying to figure out how we could shoot nighttime exteriors that were lit by moonlight, basically, without using lights and a huge crew that comes with big lights to sort of orchestrate something like that. And we sort of landed on using day for night technique. And we saw Kelly Reichardt's first cow. That was the most recent example, I guess, of day for night. And we got really excited about how they were able to achieve some of those effects. So we did a bunch of tests, but there were definitely some creative solutions like that, how we achieved, I guess, the technical aspects of the camera work in the film.
Does shooting on film change the process at all? Because I mean, obviously, you can't necessarily, see takes or see dailies in the moment. You have to wait for stuff to get processed.
Yeah, definitely. I think for us it was quite invigorating because there was I think a mystery to what we were shooting. But we did get quote unquote dailies. But we got them once a week. So we
Right.
would sort of all sit down as a team and watch what we had done the previous week. And it was always really inspiring, I think, for all of us to kind of see like, oh wow, this turned out really well, or there was something that was quite motivating, I think, about that process to sort of withhold the the work that we had done and then be able to sort of sit down together and enjoy it or cringe at maybe a technical mistake or whatever, something that we would have to reshoot later. But I'd say it was a pretty motivating process to have that like patience, I guess.
Well, and plus, I've got to imagine sort of having that looming over your head as well allows for more of a, I guess, immediacy to the work. Because, I mean, again, if you had shot this digitally, it could have played almost very differently. It would have felt, I mean, it could have felt almost a little more teenagery or almost sort of the moment, whereas this felt very much time capsule-y and very kind of cinematic. I mean, for you, when I look at this film, I'm curious of like what are the films that kind of drew you into story wise? Because I mean I love that you bring up Kelly, because I definitely see a little bit of that film and even stuff from like the 70s and giving us sort of these evocative yet very kind of still moments as we sort of go through the narrative.
Totally. I mean, I feel like there's so many that I would mention, but maybe one that comes to mind I haven't talked a lot about is Brighter Summer's Day by Edward Yang.
Oh, of course, my God, yeah.
And yeah, just the stillness and the patience of that style of filmmaking, but also sort of allowing the lives of these teenagers that are in that film to really come to life in a very organic way. Definitely very inspired by that. And then I think Harris Savita's collaborations with Gus Van Sant were definitely something that Kelly and I talked about a lot as well. And even in terms of the performance style, I kind of like the roughness
Mm,
um, in a movie like Elephant, which is also
right.
non-actors, um, and um, and certainly, also a movie like Ratcatcher by Lynn
Oh, Lynn,
Ramsey
yeah, of
was
course, yeah.
huge inspiration, that type of realism. But I think, yeah, the choice shoot on film also obviously very inspired by those filmmakers. And I think almost all of those films are shot on film.
No, I
So
think you're right.
aesthetically,
Yeah.
yes, I'm attracted to that. But I think for this story as well, there's like a fine line that I wanted to ride between reality and I guess maybe like some sort of a dream world that I felt that film and 16 millimeter film especially offered like that slight separation between what the eye sees and then something that's maybe slightly elevated or more cinematic. So we thought it was the right choice for
No, I mean, it
this.
allows us to be transported. It was definitely a good choice. No, I mean, I'm curious because obviously you've done your festival run. It's on the brink of being released for the masses, as it were. And I mean, I'm kind of curious because just in seeing it now and talking to you, I can tell how personal this was. And I mean, I'm kind of curious. as an artist, as a storyteller, is this going to be one of those, like, can you let this one go, or is this going to be the kind of experience that's kind of going to stay with you for a little bit? Because I can imagine when you're developing stuff and making stuff, on one end you're attached to it, you're invested to it. Once it's done, you kind of have to sort of walk away and focus on the next one. With this, will
Yeah,
you be able to walk away and focus on the next one?
I think yeah, I think I'm maybe in that transition period right now because we came back from New York and then the film will be released in Canada. So there's still some more festivals on the horizon. So I think I'll be with it for some time at least, sort of at a slight distance. But I think it is one of those projects that I mean, throughout the making of it, I think even the just the spirit of the team that we made it with, I made it with a lot of close friends.
Yeah,
The collaborations and the way that we worked with the teenagers, we worked very closely with high school kids in the area and did workshops at the school for acting and filmmaking, and they were kind of a part of the crew at certain points in the process. It was just such a fun experience, and even the editing process with my editor Brennan Mills, it was something that I think at certain moments I would kind of like pinch myself in the morning before I would go to work on the film. Not that we're being paid, but I felt like I had the best job in the
yeah,
world.
for sure.
And I definitely wonder, like, will it ever be as good as this again? Maybe it will, maybe it won't, but definitely a very like fulfilling experience for sure.
Well, I'm glad for that, man. I mean, it was fulfilling for me when I got to see this at TIFF, and then again just the other day. And man, honestly, I can't wait for more people to see it, man. And just honestly, congratulations on the work. Good luck on the next one, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, sir. It was very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Graham.
And don't forget to visit our friends over at Bay Street Video for all your DVD, Blu-ray rental, or purchasing needs this summer, as they are still open for curbside and some mailing delivery as well. Over at 1172 Bay Street, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, you can give them a call at 416-964-9088. That's 416-964-9088. Or send them an email at baystreetvideoto@gmail.com for any of your DVD and Blu-ray needs.